So this week we've brought along the 79 and the Mrs. Little Jimny. Brought them out here to once and for all sort out who's got the most capable rig in my house.
All the big cars could go straight up it. I had no hope with such a short wheelbase. The longer cars like Aaron's had to really think about wheel placement.
Suzuki Jimny! This thing spends more time on 3 wheels than it does on 4.
This week we leave the campsite for the terror of Jackhammer.
Almost killed the cameraman.
And once you're on Jackhammer, there's no turning back. Let's see who makes it. Let's see who gets recovered. And let's see who breaks.
I don't really want to drive it, to be honest.
Being my daughter's car, probably thought I shouldn't break it since we're 1,200 k's from home.
Maybe I was wrong.
Day 2, it was even colder when we woke up. And I mean, there was ice everywhere this time. Little bits and pieces that weren't iced up the day before, we had heaps and heaps of ice on it. And I asked, what temperature is it to Jamie?
That was the record, 6.8 for the year, so minus. 6.8? Yeah, we had last night.
Those guys in the swags would have been doing it tough, eh? It would have been freezing out there.
Ruben's going, what are you doing walking around in shorts? And I'm like, oh, well, that's just how I roll, mate.
Cooney had bought a brand new CF Moto buggy, so he was pretty keen to get that out and leave his Prado in the paddock.
We saddled up and off we went.
Good morning everyone and welcome. Another freezing cold start here at TJ's Forby Park, but we're heading to Jackhammer. It is going to be an absolutely awesome day.
Aiden actually didn't come in the Jeep, he went with Jamie in the Can-Am buggy. Now, he was having an absolute ball. He had GoPros on his helmet and all the rest of the stuff, getting all the action. Let's have a crack.
We come up to the first obstacle and it looks pretty gnarly.
The first track for the day was called Jackhammer. We had gone past it the day before and I'd sort of glanced up and gone, man, that's a pretty steep track, but I didn't know that that was going to be the first track of the day on the second morning.
All right, let's get into it. Right. Woo! Better staying on my ass instead of falling on my ass.
Usually these buggies can just rock crawl anywhere, and it had 31-inch tyres on this buggy, so pretty big for a small little machine.
He did well, but he was not able to get over it. Then finally he winched it.
After Jamie winched himself up the hill and got the buggy out of the way, it was Simon's turn.
37-inch Mickey Thompsons. We'll give it a crack, and if we can't get there, we're going to winch it.
It's starting to climbing up. Boom, boom, boom.
The big old bus, the Iveco, wants it up there like it has done every other track along the way. Again, that just ground clearance, big tyres, and I'll give some credit to Simon, his driving ability definitely helps as well.
Yeah, come on, baby! Oh, yeah!
He just nailed it on the driver's side, climbed out of it, around the hole, up the step. That set him up for a really good line to get the back of the vehicle up and over that big rock step.
That made it look too easy.
It's stupid capable.
This track was so gnarly that we physically had to do a bit of track building. We try and avoid breaking the vehicles or damaging the vehicles, so we all got together and built that track, and it's amazing what a couple of rocks will do in a couple of holes.
Next up was Tough Dog in the 300 series.
Costa was up first in the 300 series. After a game of rock, paper, scissors, we determined he'd tackle the first one and put the 300 series through its paces.
Costa was giving it a red hot rally, but he just couldn't quite make it up over that rock step.
Almost, mate, almost.
He was awesome, but at the end he needs a little bit to winched up, then help him going up.
On the Iveco, we've got the tank premium 15,000 pound winch fitted to the rear end of that vehicle. The winch performed flawlessly, especially with some of the heavier vehicles like the LC300.
All right, Simon.
Winch in!
single line pull, just pull it up nice and clean. I'm happy the winches perform really well. That's what I expect. So it was really good to see in action. That's how it actually performs.
And then you got Cooney in his new CF Moto buggy, brand new off the showroom floor.
He's been taken straight to Jackhammer, which is a gnarly, gnarly hill. And the first buggy, which is a lot bigger, more capable looking rock crawler thing, got stuck.
Jackhammer track was an interesting way to learn to drive in it.
And Cooney's coming in, giving it a red hot shot.
This was my first time. Then Mapu was the first time to do at the passenger seat. It's so tough.
He just couldn't get cracking and we couldn't understand why. And I said, has anyone checked his tyre pressures? You know, it's come from the dealer, they're probably up a bit.
Then the Simon, Rubens, everyone helped me out to lower the pressure.
And next minute, he has driven this hill.
Yes, we got him!
After Cooney, we were all on a high and Rob's turn in the Jimny.
He did get about 70% of the way, a similar spot to where the 300 series roughly got. Again, the best course of action to prevent any real sort of serious damage was to winch it.
Winched her up, got it done, and then it was Aaron's turn to have a go in the 79.
Those things are well renowned for lifting wheels. The Razzler 79 didn't disappoint. Here we go. It was just absolutely epic. We were ecstatic.
I will be honest, I was thinking, can we just say I feel sick and go back to camp?
We just decided to go around the chicken track, get up to the next spot and line up for the next challenge.
We come up to the next obstacle and you've got a choice. You got the big boulders on the left or you got the scrabbly loose stuff on the right with a big diff breaker rock sitting in the centre top of the track.
The Iveco, when it was crawling up the rocks, got a huge wheel lift. I didn't know anything that big and heavy could get a wheel up that high.
As Simon was doing the very last little section of that where the big rock was, his spare, which is mounted underneath the cabin, was getting caught up. Me and Des had to do a bit of rock packing just to get that little bit of clearance, and then he drove it effortlessly.
So next up was the buggy. He's made it look pretty easy because he could fit around through some trees. He got plenty of traction, he didn't go over the big rocks.
Then it came to my turn. After we lowered the tire pressure there, I just decided to go straight.
He just drove that thing like that obstacle wasn't even there. So I think Cooney's got that CF Moto down pat now.
That's feeling more capable than the Canny.
Jimny! I'd cheated a bit and I'd nicked up it on the trail bike the day before, so I'd already planned my line that I was going to show how zippy the Zook is.
Blake was driving the 300 this time out of Tough Dog and he went up the right-hand side.
We fitted this vehicle out with our largest shock, the Big Bore Ralph. It's a 50mm foam cell shock absorber, which has been re-engineered from a truck shock. This big shock never gets hot. It's designed to run cool even in the hottest temperatures over the toughest terrain. It was also running our upper control arms, and again, we've set it up correctly to suit the bar and winch on the front and the comfort spring in the rear. It ate the tracks up really well.
I drove the 79 around the right side of that section. It was getting a bit hairy, so lucky I had good guidance from Robbo.
I decided that we'd try a very hard left line all the way up that right side and try and avoid the rock at the top as much as possible.
I didn't even see that tree there.
It's only one way in, one way out now. There's no chicken track. It's time to get serious. Under the guidance of Simon, always, if you follow the directions, you look like a superstar.
Yes! Go, Vaughan!
I just went up that rock face, not even knowing what I was doing, and get to the top and everyone's going, you did great. I was like, I have no idea what I just did.
It looked good though.
Bringing up the tail was the DMW Jeep Rubicon.
Hannah was driving it, and it's so funny seeing her approach everything because you can barely see her over the steering wheel.
It's one of the most hectic lines I've ever seen.
I thought it was going to roll over. I couldn't even breathe. I was just like...
You know, my heart was in my mouth multiple times.
And I said, darling, just put the foot on the brake, put it in reverse, and we'll just back out of it.
It's gone over again. I'm like, oh, geez, this thing is so close to tragedy.
Now, what I want you to do, sweetheart, is no big movements.
She just kept at it, and the car just came right up like it was nearly about to tip over.
Stop.
Everyone just went nuts. It was just the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Oh, go. Stop.
She instantly became my hero.
Even when it's right up in the air, you still gave it another squirt to just get it over that last bit.
Got to the next hill climb section.
2 rocks at V very tightly together. Big rock step up to it and a lot of small shaly sections.
1.5 metres wide, you've actually got to drive the rock ledge to get through it.
Hey, we thought no one's gonna get over it. Jamie did no problem. He was okay.
Thank you. I'll get a drink of water, I think. I'm bloody thirsty. This is going to be very interesting.
It was an unbelievable drive from Simon.
All right.
As everyone knows, the 300 series is not a skinny car. There was one way, and unfortunately, the side steps took a bit of a hit.
They just got absolutely troweled on that section.
It took its time, found traction, made it all the way up without a hitch.
It's our turn for the big gnarly hill. Des has come in.
See how gnarly it feels with this short wheelbase.
All the big cars could go straight up it, and it had like a second step. I had no hope with such a short wheelbase. So I had to come through the gap, do a sharp right, and then a sharp left to miss that big rock step. Suzuki Jimny! That was gnarly as, but good fun. All these sections I had to do with probably a little bit more pace than I wanted to do, whereas Aaron had bulk horsepower and had to send it. Just had to commit and drag the sliders straight over the rocks. You did a huge wheel lift out of it.
This thing spends more time on 3 wheels than it does on 4.
Right, Dan, start coming up.
It's driven up through this section and he's got nearly up over the top of the rock ledge.
Then the rear left got hung up.
Made it 95% of the way.
They hooked up the winch and got him through.
The last little bit, it was pretty funny. My rear wheel dropped off and just smashed down onto this rock, onto the sill. If that's the worst that I've done on that section of track, you've done a bloody good job.
Holy moly, that was sick! The MDC 62, Vaughan drove that so easy compared to everybody else.
I mean, you don't really have a choice at the end there. There's one way.
Kevin, move!
Almost killed the cameraman.
I hope that was recording, Kevin.
Anya, she turned it on. I backed her back down a bit and said to her, look, you're just going to have to give it a bit of a rally. She launched through that, chucked to the left, round the tree.
Oh my God.
So I followed that path that Simon did and what Jamie did. The wheel spin it, the dust is out there. But luckily our Samba is a dust proof, not a problem. Our Eco-Scale Samba is waterproof and we can mount anywhere. We can connect up to 50 Sambas. RGB LED lights, the power is there. Eco-Scale, you get great speakers for the outdoors.
All right, Ruben, don't let your daughter show you up.
I'm thinking, really, the wheelbase, oh, I'm gonna probably get stuck. trying to climb up the rock. That wasn't working, so I backed back. Got hung up for a little bit, did a bit of left, right, good night, and out she came.
Good challenge, some good navigation by some of the guys that were spotting, and we definitely limited the amount of damage that was going to happen to the cars.
One more down and one more up, and that's all smooth sailing.
Well, that's famous last words.
Wasn't too long of a section, just quite steep, and it's just a real chessboard of technical problems to solve on this track.
I'm gonna die.
Ah, you'll be right this one, mate.
He drove it in the buggy like a boss. He sort of straddled where he had to go. Simon's driven it unreal in the Iveco.
There was a bit of a tree stump sticking up halfway down, which we sort of needed to coordinate ourselves around.
That rear pumpkin's on that stump.
Did get hung up a little bit on it. Unfortunately, there was no way around it.
Come slowly, your rear tyre will pick up that rock. It's halfway through. That's it, you're out of that. Let's go, Nick!
So this week we've brought along the 79 and the Mrs. Little Jimny. Brought them out here to once and for all sort out who's got the most capable rig in my house.
Oh, go the Jimny.
The other left, mate, the other left.
The longer cars like Aaron's, we had to sort of really think about wheel placement, not to get hung up.
Yeah, it's going to drop down now. The back's going to come over, but it's all right.
The 79, I personally think it's going to win for sure. But the Jimny goes all right. That's definitely surprised me this week. What we should have done was just send the carbon car down there straight up because he ripped the stump straight out.
Almost. Rip the stump out.
And I've always wanted to move it. I've tried burning it, I've tried hitting it with a chainsaw, it's so hard. But the Amrock removed that tree for us.
That is brilliant. How good's that? We've been trying to get it out for years. Let's go!
That was really long downhill, and using that the side-by-side low gear, have to do, but so scared.
Being at the back of the convoy is you get to actually watch everyone and how they approach the track, because if you do take the wrong line you could actually get beached up on a rock, or you could do a CV or something crazy.
It was back to Hannah's turn driving, and then Hannah drove down there sensationally. Good brake control.
It nailed it. Hey?
If you guys have a ute of any kind, single cab, extra cab, dual cab, we have a canopy to fit your vehicle. We have got our aeroplane track. You can mount your canopy in seconds. It is that easy. Never have a problem with your ute not looking sexy, and just jump onto the DMW website today.
We're able to get everyone through that without any scratching or dinging on any cars, but it was a bit of a team effort.
And we're now at the final challenge of this track.
Did a bit of track building to begin with before we started hitting this.
Walked up and had a bit of a look, and I think was probably the hardest section of the day.
Here we come.
Okay, you've got a tree stump that's chopped off here, a tree stump that's chopped off there. You've got a rock ledge, you've got another rock ledge there. It was pretty phenomenal.
Oi. How good is that?
Yeah!
How good is that?
No challenge for the big Iveco. Just find that rock.
Whoa, that sounds gnarly, eh?
If we kept pushing any further, it just kept sliding further and further to the left towards the big edge. So at that point, we decided to winch it to pull it back up.
Clear, winching!
Thanks, boys. Thank you very much.
Big rock ledge, which isn't too bad, except it's got a ginormous tree stump in the middle, which I think I might struggle for central clearance.
He's got up to a certain stage. We've winched him over as well. Hey, here's Gibber. Maybe I was wrong.
Being my daughter's car, probably thought I shouldn't break it since we're 1,200 k's from home. So we got that one up nice and easy.
I don't really want to drive it, to be honest.
See ya here. Go out, slow down. Then we knew the king of on wheel lists were about to come. Definitely had me scared, that's for sure. I was scared watching.
When Simon said it was an 11, he wasn't wrong.
He's got most of the way up and it's like he was going to do it.
Oh, I can't.
Be watching next week as we finish up on Jackhammer, find out what else TJ's has on offer, and we check out some off-roading of a very different kind.